I spent a lot of time to make sure I can aim. With the center of the screen, I aim to a certain place, and that's where John is aiming the gun as well. Hi guys, my name is Borodante, and welcome to the game, version 0.0. There's a lot to talk about. I've been gone for I don't know how long. I haven't checked when I posted the last video on the channel, but since then, I did some stuff. For the first time in my life, I actually got to this stage of development of a game, and this is feeling pretty damn awesome. But yeah, I pretty much disappeared for a while because I felt like this is the time, this is the moment where I have to switch to actually putting things together in Unreal Engine now. And I just needed some alone time with the program to, first of all, remember a little bit what I learned before, and also learn a lot of the new things as well. So this is what it took. And now I can walk around and shoot guts, neonate enemy all over this map, which is something I want to tell you guys about. By the way, the green rectangles, I've literally just started trying out how to do it. This will be the marks of wounds from the shots in the future. I don't know how it works yet. It's placing certain decals based on the placement where I shoot, I guess, but it's not really there at the moment. Yeah, the laser pointer, that's all work in progress. Also the lags as well. It's I don't know, it lags based on when I restarted the Unreal editor or something. But yeah, I've been gone for so long, I don't even know how to talk to you guys anymore, especially considering that I was just waking up, sitting down, trying to figure things out, and then going to bed when I had to go to bed. I wasn't doing anything else. That's why my looks changed a lot. But yeah, about the level, last time I showed you guys the game in Unreal Engine, it looked very different. It was looking like an actual forest, but that was because I was trying to see what I can at all build in Unreal Engine 5 using, you know, high poly assets and how much grass can be shown at the same time, like what can I actually do? And I saw it, I understand how it works, now I need to design the level. And this is just the very first little part of it, the demo level that I'm preparing, hopefully for the Halloween period. But don't hold your breath on that part, because I don't know how long this will take. Like, on one hand, this will take forever. On the other hand, I got quite an insane progress in the last week by just making all of this work. And by the way, we can make the whole thing into like a night scene, and I have a key to turn on a flashlight. And yeah, this is pretty cool. I like the system of aiming I got here. It still needs some polishing, as well as all the animations. The main character still doesn't have actual animations. All of this will be animated with proper motion capture from the Rococo suit, but right now I'm still using what I had before. What I was busy with is making sure the aiming actually works, the camera acts in a very specific way, with autofocus, you know, following the aiming of the camera and stuff like that. There's a lot of little things that are involved in here to make sure the character does things naturally and stuff like that. But generally the movements of just walking and everything looks very robotic. And yeah, the guys, the Guts neonates here, they are just players. They play back the animation, that animation that I showed you guys, that I captured in the video of using the Rococo suit. This is me walking around and everything. I cut off the part where I lay on the floor and drift away. So this is just me trying the suit, and it plays back over and over again. So they don't attack, don't do anything. The only AI part that they have, which is not even AI at all, even technically. This is just the script of getting the damage. You can see on the top left corner, it's showing the remaining health. And when 0 is just turning on the physics and they fall down. But yeah, the only thing I did to them is I actually projected normal maps, so they have some details from the actual sculpt on the meshes, and that's about it. Just put them right here to see what I can do generally with the enemies. But yeah, the nearest future plan would be to introduce animations to John, as well as maybe eventually add a real final hair to him, as well as make my own clothing for him, because this is just one of the very few options of clothing from MetaHuman, and maybe retexturing the head, the face, you know, stuff like that to make him actually look the way I want him to look. There's a lot of options in terms of customizing the MetaHuman, way more than what I did with John so far. Then of course adding animations, proper animation switching and blending for walking, standing, attacking for the guts, and after that also adding the AI of like walking around in certain patterns and starting to approach the main character when they're nearby, as well as doing some attacks, like 2-3 different attacks they would have and causing damage to John, stuff like that. So that's the way it would progress. Just with these two characters so far, I'll be figuring things out. And after that, I'll bring the rest of the Neonites as well as all the other manifestation enemies that I have planned and sculpted and textured already. And at the same time, I will be working on the environment. And why it's all looking like this now is because I want to make sure I'm planning through the actual layout. It's like the main thing that needs to be done. It's very important to do it right. The scale of things, how long is each hallway and everything. By the way, this is not actual hallways, they're technically hallways because that's the way the character can walk around, but overall this will be the forest. It's just that you can't walk freely around the place. There's a lot of like dense bushes and trees, and this is the way you can go through it, through little pathways and some little blank spots in between the trees and stuff like that. So it will all look very cool and natural by the time I get to the actual visual design of the environment. But right now I have a plan. You guys can kind of see it right here. This is my quick drawing of logical plan of the level, and so far everything I modeled in here is like this first part like this, and the rest will be still in progress. There will be a lot of things to add as well. So yeah, and everything is done in these cubes like this. Even the floor is just a bunch of rectangles like this, just so I would be able to keep everything absolutely modular, meaning I can just drag and select all of these parts and move them here if I want to add like more length to this hallway, for instance, something like that. Like, so I would be able to move things around completely, including all the triggers, all the events, all the enemies. You can just drag and drop everything, including everything that's going on in this particular place. So I haven't seen the way other people design their levels, but I feel like I don't really have to, because this is definitely the way to go so far. But yeah, I really feel at the moment that things are going very cool. Many of these things that I made working right now, I actually made even without following any tutorials or anything. Like, I start to actually understand the way things work, which is really cool. So I feel like I have the potential, like the tools in my head right now to start really using Unreal Engine to do just what I want. And this is something that's really cool. Of course, there is like 90% of the everything that I haven't tried yet. There's many things to learn and implement, but I think it'll be all right. And this is the important part, because overall Unreal Engine is a hell of a beast in terms of, you know, learning it. It's one of the biggest apps in the world, maybe. Biggest creative apps, at least. So yeah, it'll take its time, it'll be hard, it will be slow, but I feel like I'll be able to make something awesome for you guys to check out, hopefully by the time Halloween comes. And yeah, I'll do my best to report as frequently as possible, which is not very frequent, to be honest, on my progress and on the way things are. And of course, whenever I'll be adding, textures to the enemies, to the main character, when we'll be designing the clothing and kind of assets for the environments, and one of the videos like that are coming in about a month for sure. And there's one very important key environment asset that I want to sculpt with you guys. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I pretty much spend every day, all day in Unreal Engine 5 right now, just constantly solving something. Like, if you're curious, this is pretty much what I'm working with. It's just constant trees of nodes with trees in them, and then trees inside of those trees. They're called graphs, they're not trees. But yeah, it's just a whole bunch of logics and variables and whatever. Of course, I could be talking forever about this, but I know this is just not what this channel is about. I'll be definitely sticking just to the art aspect of the development on this channel, which also is a good thing because I don't really know the other side, the programming side, well enough. I'm learning it myself, so it's best I don't pretend to teach other people how to do it in the process. But yeah, this is truly an incredible experience. Like, I haven't had this much fun in a while the way I had it yesterday, when I literally went from just walking around and aiming to actually being able to fire the gun, subtract the health, and make the gods drop dead like this with physics, all within one day. Like, I've never done this before. This is so cool to be able to do this and do it the way I want it to happen exactly. This is really cool. And yeah, about the laser pointer and stuff like that, like the very intense aspect, like, I spent a lot of time to make sure I can aim with the center of the screen. I aim to a certain place, and that's where John is aiming the gun as well. So he's like switching in depth when the center of the screen is looking deeper or something like this, which is like an incredibly cool thing for me. It might be not the snappiest and quickest gameplay out there, obviously, but I'm going for like realistic appearance. All the animations are slow. I just look at it like how quickly John can sit down. I just made him sit down with the speed that I would sit down in. I don't know. In many games, characters just almost teleport into a sitting position. I'm like, why? I'm going this route because this is a survival horror game. You should feel like you're controlling a real human with, this much height of their jump. And by the way, if you tap quickly, John can barely jump in such a small amount of time, so you need to press and hold to let him charge the jump, like actually sit down to then be able to jump from that. And aiming as well is very slow, with a lot of shaky movement and uncertainty of like where the gun is pointed right now is not necessarily where the center of the screen is pointing right now as well. If you are moving very quickly, you have to wait a second for John to actually, start really aiming. And I feel like this is much closer to real aiming. It's not that easy to aim. So that's the whole philosophy I'm going with. But of course, I'm not gonna push it too far. It still needs to feel comfortable. You just shouldn't feel like you can just kill everyone and don't bother with everything. The main goal of a horror game like this would be to make you afraid while having to solve puzzles in the environment of enemies that are not just not easy to shoot, but maybe you don't even have enough ammo at all, of course. So all of that will be a huge aspect of it. That's why I'm approaching the animation of the character this way, that you're not exactly prepared to kill everyone left and right. And yeah, as a part of that, I just feel like my game just can't have user interface, like at all. Maybe eventually I will have to follow the standard and add some kind of interface, but so far I can't even imagine the game I'm working on to even have its font. I just is just wrong. I feel like when you open the game, you should just see three-dimensional world with three-dimensional things. As well as I can't imagine this game having an actual crosshair in the middle of the screen. That's why so far I'm experimenting with the laser pointer, but I can see how in the beginning of the game you wouldn't have that option as well, where there will be like less enemies, but you're gonna have to aim yourself by figuring out where the center of the screen is right now, and something like that. But yeah, these are my thoughts on the progress so far. I really hope I'll make another video very soon, and it will be about preparing animations for, probably would be best to go with Guts, because we literally don't have anything for him right now at all. It's just one stupid solid animation playing back over and over again. So yeah, I think whenever I get to make the next video, it will be to make Guts actually into a real enemy character that has walking, standing, approaching, and running away, and attacking differently, all those animations prepared, and then we'll be able to somehow control that with a basic AI system in the future to make him actually walk towards John and everything. But yeah, this is it. Honestly, when I was working on this whole thing this week, I felt like I'll have so much to tell you guys, but really, in the end, it's kind of a working basic mechanics of the game so far, of like the main character only, pretty much. I just got to be able to shoot enemies and make them dead. That's kind of it. But the aiming part was a huge deal that I had to figure out a lot. Not that it was the hardest thing to do, but it was the first thing I kind of did right now, so that's where I learned a lot of very basic things about how to work with Unreal Engine right now. That's why it took the longest. Hopefully, the more I go forward, the quicker things will get, but of course I'm not expecting everything to become super easy. But yeah, so far I've been like crazily mesmerized by the ability of like switching focus between looking closely or further ahead by changing the point of view like this. This is just so cool to me. So yeah, just making the gun point upwards when you're pointing upwards and downwards and everything, synchronizing with the center of the screen. It was, you know, quite an achievement to make this whole thing work together in sync with animations not breaking all the time. So yeah, just a pretty big achievement in my eyes. Hopefully you guys are impressed as well. Anyway, I'll stop rambling because I just forgot how to talk to people at all at this point. Tell me guys what you think, and I thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye! It's like shooting with glowing paint or something. It feels kind of weird, but I do love the way they fall down.